What's up guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're talking about the fastest way to get 100% IV in Pokemon Go. Let's get into it, timestamps below as always. First off, I'm gonna give credit where credit is due. The Trainer Club made a similar video to this about Shundo odds and the fastest way to get a Shundo. However, I was getting a lot of comments on my videos and my streams about how Hundo odds work and the fastest way to get one. So I'm making this video for my audience to answer that question. Let's get into it. So first thing we need to understand Hundo odds is gonna be IV floors. IV floors is gonna be the lowest minimum IVs you can get from one form of encounter, which will decide what the Hundo rates are, because the lowest IV floors you can get will cut out a bunch of possible IV sets lower than the IV floor. We'll talk about exact IV floors when we're going through the odds, but let's give you an example. Any Pokemon encountered from a egg hatch, encountered in a raid, or encountered from a field research task has an IV floor of 10, 10, 10. This means that the lowest the IVs can be from that research task are going to be 10 attack, 10 stamina, and 10 defense. This means it's impossible to get this set of IVs, for example, from a research task, raid, or egg hatch, since the IVs need to be higher than the IV floor. Now, another thing important to note is going to be purification. Purifying in Pokemon Go is the only way to actually raise IVs of a Pokemon. If you take a Shadow Pokemon and purified, it will boost the IVs of the attack, defense, and stamina by 2 each. So if you purify a Pokemon with the IVs of 0, 8, 6, then those IVs, once purified, will be 2, 10, and 8, I believe if my math is correct, plus 2 on each of the IVs. With all that out of the way, let's get into all the IV floors and the odds for each different encounter. First, we're going to talk about wild spawns. Wild spawns that are non-weather boosted are going to have an IV floor of 0, 0, 0. So if you want a 0, 0, 0 IV Pokemon, the only way to get it in Pokemon Go is going to be from a wild encounter. Having IV floors of 0, 0, 0 means there are 16 possible IVs you can get for attack, defense, and stamina. So to multiply for the odds, you're going to go 16 times 16 times 16, and that's going to be 1 in 4,096. So this is going to be the hardest way to get a shiny, is just going to be in the wild non-weather boosted. Next up, we have trading from a good friend. If you don't know, when you receive a Pokemon from trade, the IVs are actually going to change, and the IV floor will depend on how good of friends you are with that person you're receiving trade. If you have 1 heart with that friend, which means they are a good friend, the lowest IVs are going to be 1, 1, 1. There's going to be a total of 15 different IVs, so 15 times 15 times 15 for attack, defense, and stamina. 1 in 3,375 are going to be the odds for a Hundo from a trade from a good friend. We then have a great friend, which will bump the IVs up to a 2, 2, 2 IV floor. Again, this will be very simple. It's going to be 14 times 14 times 14, since there are 14 different for each of the stats. 1 in 2, 7, 4, 4. We then have the Ultra Friend, which boosts up to 3, 3, 3 as the minimum IV floor. That's going to be 13 times 13 times 13 for the odds, since there are 13 possible combinations you can get for attack, defense, and stamina, and that will go to 1 in 2,197 as the odds. We then have Weather Boost. If you catch a Pokemon that is weather boosted in the wild, if you didn't know, the actual minimum IV floor is going to be 4, 4, 4 for the IVs. It can get very hard to get lower IV Pokemon if it is weather boosted. There are going to be 12 possible combinations for any weather boosted Pokemon, leaving the odds to 1 in 1,728. So not actually terrible to get a Hundo from the wild when it is weather boosted. 1 in 1,000, it's not bad. We then have the best friend trade. Now, if you receive a trade from a best friend, the lowest IVs are going to be 5, 5, 5. This will leave 11 possible combinations for attack, defense, and stamina. So 11 times 11 times 11 is 1 in 1,331 as the Hundo odds. We then have a Shadow Legendary. Now, unless we have a special event, the minimum IV floor for a Shadow Legendary is going to be 6, 6, 6. That's going to go 10 times 10 times 10. That's going to be a 1 in 1,000 chance of getting a Hundo Shadow Legendary. If you have one, you are definitely lucky. I actually have one. I definitely hit the jackpot on my Shadow Hundo, except there was events where the IV floor was raised to 10, 10, 10. We then have eggs, raids, and research. We already talked about this one. The IV floor is 10, 10, 10, leaving 6 possible combinations for attack, defense, and stamina, leaving a 1 in 216 chance to get a Hundo from eggs, research, or raids. And then finally, we have a lucky trade. If you receive a Pokemon from a lucky trade, or a Pokemon randomly goes lucky in a trade, the IV floor is 12, 12, 12, leaving a possible of 4 IV sets for each attack, defense, and stamina, leaving a 1 in 64 chance of getting a Hundo from a lucky trade. So you might guess that's going to be our best option. Now, before I talk about the best method to go ahead and attack to get a 100% IV in Pokemon Go, I want to mention one thing, and this is how odds work. In Pokemon Go, just because your odds are 1 in 64, it does not mean that you need to do 64 encounters of that fashion and you will get a Hundo. How it works is every time you get an encounter, say in a raid, you're going to roll a dice with 216 chances, because the odds are 1 in 216 for a Hundo from a raid. Every time you get an encounter, you're rolling that dice. So it doesn't mean that you roll that dice 216 times and you're guaranteed to hit that one time that's going to be a Hundo. You could roll that dice 1,000 times and not get 100% IV from raid. How odds work is every time you're getting that encounter, you're rolling a dice to see see if you're actually gonna get the hundo. You could roll that dice and get 100% IV the first check you do, or you could roll that dice 10,000 times and never get the 100% IV. That's just how odds work in any game, really. The odds are 1 in 64. You're not guaranteed to get it in 64. You're just having a chance of 1 in 64 every time you get that encounter. Hopefully that makes sense, because a lot of people say, oh, I did 216 Reshiram raids and I still don't have the hundo. Unfortunately, that's not how it works. You just have to keep trying and hopefully you get lucky. Now, let's talk about the best possible ways to get a hundo. First of all, the best way is going to be through a lucky trade, of course. Lucky trades have the odds of 1 in 64. If you don't know, once you're best friends with a trainer, you interact every day, you can become lucky friends. And next trade you do, you will receive a guaranteed lucky Pokemon. Now, the issue with lucky trades is usually you want to get special trades from those. So shiny Pokemon, legendary Pokemon, which limits you to 1 a day. So although you should be doing 1 special lucky trade a day, it's not a really efficient method to get a lot of hundos fast, since you are capped to 1 a day. Really. So I think the second best method is going to be from regular trading. First of all, the regular odds from trading with a best friend is going to be 1 in 1,331. So still high odds, but pretty good. You can do up to 100 trades a day, so you're getting 100 chances at the hundo from a best friend trade. But on top of that, there's actually a 5% chance when you do a regular trade, like not a lucky trade, just a regular trade with a friend, that trade actually goes lucky, meaning you have a 1 in 64 chance of getting a hundo. So not only are you hitting a 1 in 1331 chance every single time you trade, but there's also a little 5% chance that you get a lucky Pokemon, in which those lucky odds will be higher. I don't know exactly how to do the math combining those two values, because I know there's a way to calculate, you know, if you have this percentage and this percentage, but this percentage is only a 5% chance of happening. I think there's a way to calculate an exact odds, but I'm just gonna show you guys my odds. I'm gonna search here 4-star and traded, and I have a total of 32 traded 100% IVs. And then I'm gonna come to my trading medal here, and I've traded 14,837 times. That leaves me to an average odds of 1 in 464 for 100% IVs received from trades. So as you can see, that's a lot higher than the 1 in 1,331 for a trade from a best friend, since you do have that chance of getting a lucky. So although I recommend doing a lucky trade every single day, I recommend doing 100 trades a day, regular trades, because you can get a lot of hundos from that. The final method I'm gonna recommend is actually gonna be weather boosted shadow Pokemon. Now, weather boost Pokemon are gonna have an IV floor of 444. And when you purify a Pokemon, it'll actually go up to IVs. So if you catch a weather boosted Pokemon and you actually purify it, you're actually getting an IV floor of 666, which is the exact same odds as a shadow legendary, which are gonna be 1 in 1,000. So if you find a weather boosted shadow Pokemon, once you purify that, you're gonna get an odds of 1 in 1,000 to get a hundo from that. Now, the only downside with this is that there are certain Pokemon you do not want to purify. Most shadow Pokemon you do not want to purify. For example, Shadow Machop is a great one in the form of Shadow Machamp. You don't really want to purify that Pokemon to get the regular Machamp. So unless you are a hundo hunter and you don't care too much about shadow Pokemon and that whole side of the game, you can go ahead and hunt hundos through shadow Pokemon. But all in all, for the majority of the player base, this is not going to be a way to hunt, because you do not want to purify your shadows. Finally, raids, eggs, and research, IV floor of 10, 10, 10. Unless you're going to spend a lot of money on the game to get incubators, raid passes, or spend a lot of time doing research, this is not the best way to hunt. Sometimes you are limited to only being able to hunt Pokemon through eggs, raids, and research. But all in all, I haven't really had amazing amounts of success from eggs, raids, and research. But I'm not going to say don't do it, because the thing is, when you do eggs, raids, and research, you can get those Pokemon and you can actually trade them with a friend and have a second roll at the hundo, if that makes sense. And that's good for any sort of encounter that you guys are going to see here. First of all, get the odds of getting the encounter, for example, in the wild or from eggs or from raids, which are generally going to be lower odd hundo rates. But then you can take those Pokemon and you can just go ahead and trade them with a friend and have those higher odds for the 100% IV. All in all, the biggest takeaway is you guys should be doing regular trades and lucky trades if you want to get hundos. That's going to be the fastest way in Pokemon Go. I hope this video answers some questions for you guys so you guys can be clear on the subject. If you have anything else to add that I might have missed that could be important for any trainer to know, please feel free to comment below in the comment section below. We're going to see y'all in the next one, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye now.